Meeting the love of your life, eloping, and getting married, these are dreams many teenage girls hold dear. Caroline Crouch was no exception. At just 15 years old, she was swept off her feet by a dashing 27-year-old helicopter pilot who seemed like the perfect man. They eloped, got married, and lived the dream. Until it turned into a global shocker that made headlines for all the wrong reasons. What appeared to be a fairy tale love story soon spiraled into a tragedy that would fool everyone, leaving the world reeling. How did such a perfect picture unravel so devastatingly? Join us as we uncover the dark truth behind the murder that stunned Greece and beyond. On a quiet Tuesday morning, May 11th, 2021, at around 4:30 a.m., an unsettling disturbance shattered the peace. Haralambos Anagnostopoulos, known as Babis, awoke in terror inside the maisonette he rented in Glyka Nera, a serene suburb on the outskirts of Athens. 3 masked men, armed and determined, broke into his home. The scene quickly turned into a nightmare, as Babis was overpowered, bound and blindfolded with duct tape. Helpless and terrified, he could only listen as the intruders moved toward his young wife Caroline and their innocent 11-month-old daughter. What happened next would turn this incident into one of the most shocking cases in modern Greek history. Caroline Crouch was born on July 12, 2001 in Athens to David Crouch, a retired engineer, and Susan de la Costa. At the tender age of 8, her family moved to the picturesque island of Alonissos, where Caroline grew up with a deep love for the ocean. Passionate about scuba diving and swimming, she seemed destined for a bright future. Her life took a dramatic turn when she met Babis during a Good Friday parade in 2017. The commercial helicopter pilot instantly charmed the then 15-year-old Caroline. Their whirlwind romance led to a wedding in Portugal on July 15, 2019, where they sealed their commitment to one another. But behind the smiles and the seemingly perfect life, an ominous shadow loomed, a shadow that would eventually lead to Caroline's untimely death. Just days before that tragic May morning, Caroline and Babis had purchased land, eager to build their dream home for themselves and their daughter. Caroline's parents gifted her $50,000 to help fund the purchase, while the couple saved an additional $10,000 in cash, an amount they hid at home due to Greece's uncertain economic climate. With everything seemingly perfect, no one could have predicted the terror that would soon strike. That fateful morning, the masked intruders demanded money. Desperate to protect his family, Babis directed them to the hidden stash, ironically tucked away inside a Monopoly game box. The intruders grabbed the cash and valuables but weren't satisfied. They wanted more and were willing to go to any length to get it. The situation took a horrific turn as the robbers threatened the life of their infant daughter. The room filled with screams, panic, and despair as the intruders terrorized the young family. In the chaos, Caroline fought back, brave and determined to protect her child. But in a horrifying act of brutality, the attackers smothered Caroline with a pillow. Babis, tied up and helpless, drifted in and out of consciousness as his world fell apart around him. When Babis regained consciousness, the house was eerily silent, except for the cries of his baby daughter. Mustering all his strength, he managed to use his nose to dial for help, pleading with emergency services to come quickly. The call was muffled, barely intelligible, but it was enough to send first responders racing to the scene. What they found inside was nothing short of a horror movie. The house had been ransacked, drawers overturned, belongings scattered everywhere, and a gutted Monopoly box lying among the debris. The family's beloved husky, Roxy, was found strangled with her own leash hanging from the staircase. Upstairs, Babis was still bound, covered in duct tape, with a look of sheer devastation on his face. But the most heart-wrenching sight was Caroline, lying motionless on the bed, her daughter clapping beside her, innocently trying to wake her up. Caroline was dead. As police began piecing together the evidence, one thing became clear. This was no ordinary robbery. The brutality of the attack, the cold-blooded murder of Caroline, and the calculated way in which the crime was executed suggested something far darker. Investigators found themselves questioning the motive. If the robbers got what they wanted, why kill Caroline? Speculations ran wild. Were the intruders drugged, uncontrollable, or perhaps recognized by Caroline? Or was her resistance the final trigger for her murder? As the case gained media attention, the public demanded answers. Babies was lauded as a hero for surviving such a harrowing ordeal, winning sympathy and support. He even made emotional television appearances and delivered a tearful farewell at Caroline's funeral, holding their baby tightly as he mourned his wife. The world was hooked on this tragic love story that seemed almost too terrible to be real. But then, things took a turn no one saw coming. As detectives dug deeper, cracks began to appear in Babis's story. The timeline didn't quite add up, and new evidence cast doubt on his account. The first red flag was the discovery that the house's CCTV memory card had been removed hours before Babis claimed the intruders arrived. Next, Caroline's smartwatch revealed that her time of death was earlier than Babis stated. Even more damning, Babis's own phone data showed movement during the time he claimed to be tied up. Confronted with the mounting evidence, Babis's carefully constructed facade crumbled. In a stunning confession, he admitted there were no masked intruders. The truth was far darker and more twisted than anyone imagined. Babis revealed that he and Caroline had a heated argument that escalated into violence. In a moment of uncontrollable rage, he suffocated her. Then, to cover up his crime, he staged the elaborate robbery, hoping to fool everyone into believing they were victims of a brutal home invasion. The world was left in disbelief. This wasn't just a tragic crime. It was a carefully orchestrated deception by a man who was supposed to be a grieving husband. The fairy tale romance that captured so many hearts had been nothing but a smokescreen hiding jealousy, control, and premeditated murder. The case sent shockwaves across Greece and beyond. Caroline's death, at the hands of the man she trusted most, became a chilling reminder of how appearances can be deceiving. The young daughter left behind would grow up without either parent, one dead, the other behind bars for life. Babis's fall from grace was swift and complete. Once hailed as a victim and a hero, he was now exposed as a calculating killer who betrayed everyone. His trial was swift, and justice was served. But the scars left behind by this horrifying case will linger for years to come. This case is a haunting example of how easily love can twist into something sinister. Behind the smiles and perfect lives we see on the surface, there can be darkness lurking. Caroline's tragic death stands as a warning. Even the most enchanting fairy tales can hide terrifying secrets.